Hello. In the previous video we looked at creating an animated sprite sheet blender to Godot, and we did it for a soldier, but the process for creating the sprite sheet is the same for this video, so we're not going to cover making the sprite sheet and shorten up the video so that we're just dealing with the actual animation of the treads. So this video is dealing with animating the treads. We'll have a look at the animation player. This is exactly the same as the character done in the last video, the soldier character. It has all of the same animations for shoot, move, and idle. The difference with this one is the sprite sheet only consists of 4 frames per direction, and the shoot animation and the idle animation is just one single frame of the move animation. So it's just consolidated, and the animations are present and possibly will do other things. Conceivably could be the point where I set the, well, no, that wouldn't work. We'll have to do that later because we still have to discuss the gun muzzle location. But we're just going to deal with the tread animation. So the rendering process is exactly the same in Blender. We'll just get one of the move animations. So let's get move east and we'll play that animation. This is 4 frames of animation generated from Blender. And again, the graphic is a sprite sheet with 8 directions, 4 frames per direction. So let's jump into Blender and have a look how to make this animation. It's really quite simple. Now, we don't want to get into doing the modeling. This is a super basic model of a tank, and you can get an idea from other tutorials. There's a 10-minute tank challenge video out there, which gives an idea for how to come up with just a simple and basic tank. And that's all this is a very basic, simple toy tank kind of design. With all of its bits are separate, like it has a wheelbase, a tank body, and the turret that we dealt with in the previous video. And the tank tread. Now the tank tread is also something, there are so many tutorials on that it doesn't make sense for me to do another tutorial on how to make this tank tread. Basically how it works is it's parented to the tank body and will move when you move the tank. But we don't want to move the tank for our animation. We want it to stay still in the frame. So instead of moving the tank, I did the tread. Now we'll just have a quick look and get an idea for what sort of tutorial you're looking for to make the tank tread if you don't already know how to do that. Again, my videos are going to assume a certain level of ability in Blender to be able to make models and do some of these things for yourself. Because I don't want to cover tutorials that other people have already covered, because I'm just putting out their material with my name on it, and I don't want to do that. So the tank tread is one single block of tread, and it's a cube scaled into a rough shape, and then I inset a face just to attach some visuals to. So it's inset, and then it was extruded in a little bit. You can see the little edge there to create a little bit of shape to it and give just some faces to strap some material colors to. Then that one tiny model of one section of tank tread is put into an array wrapped around a Bezier circle to create the tank tread effect. And the Bezier circle is just modeled to roughly go around the wheels so that it's in the correct shape. So that's something that there's already so many tutorials on. We don't want to cover it. And basically I would feel as though I'm stealing people's material to do that. So what I did to create the tank tread animation was two simple keyframes at 4 frames of animation. And what I did was I keyed in the default location of the tread, came forward 4 frames, and moved the tread so that this tread here, that's on the z-axis, was approximately 3/4 of the way through the tread. You see, at the start of the animation, it begins more or less right on the crease between the two treads. So I came forward 4, moved it 3/4 of the way, and set in the keyframe. That creates the visual effect of the tank tread moving. It's not really what it's doing, it's just a visual effect. The tank tread is actually just moving that one section over and over again. But when separated in the way that it is with the 3/4 of the tread motion, it creates the visual effect of the tank moving. So that animation is just rendered in the same fashion as the character animated in the previous video. So we're looking through the camera, we're rotating the camera and the lighting, because there's more than one light, by 45 degrees for each animation and adding it to the sprite sheet that we used a little bit of math to figure out the size of. So we could open up GIMP and have a glance at the sprite sheet just to get an idea what it looks like. It's not much of a sprite sheet really. Let's see, tank sprite sheet. So that's the whole sprite sheet. That's all of the animations to move the tank in 8 directions with a moving turret. And then the first frame of each direction was used for the idle and shoot animations, because the tank doesn't really need to do anything for those. So this is the most simple that I can come up with for a working tank animation for an isometric RTS type of project. So I hope that's enough to get people some ideas as to how to create animations for something like a tank. And until the next video, take care.